Okay, I have been putting this off for forever, and I was about to put it off again, saw something in a video that kind of inspired me to just get off my ass and do it. I'm in a weird position because my excuse for not doing it, just this minute was I have a cat. I'm on this reclining thing, and one of my cats is on the footrest between my legs, and it's like, well, I can't do it now because I always sit up straight when I do this, and there's a cat, and I don't want to disturb the cat. Feline paralysis, it's a thing, y'all. Also, I can't even with the fact that I am wearing every fucking time I make a video, it's the same outfit. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. Anyway, sorry about the lighting. This is as good as we get. It's overcast and it's an old computer. Anyway, so what I have done is, first of all, shout out to the people who have inspired me with iterative channeling. I had this idea that, if it's not a voice channel, if it's not trance channeling, if it's not conscious channeling, it's not real. It's not the real thing, right? And shout out to Omni, who introduced me to the concept of iterative channeling, and shout out to Eluna and Sarah Shook, who do iterative and non-iterative channeling, and also Moonlight Energy, who does very similar. That's basically what shamans do, which that's what I am. Especially if they're doing it for a client, they're speaking what they see out loud. So that's what I am going to do. I've already done all my prep work that I do, and I'm just going to go in and see what I see. If nothing happens, I guess I won't post this, but if they don't show me anything, but they always show me something. And there was one time I actually tried to go in and see if I could get a message for the collective. Ideally the 4 a.m. club, but we'll see what happens. I'm not going to be picky. And I went in and they're like, if you would actually do this in front of a camera, we would come tell you something. So that's what I'm doing. So let's just see. I do tend to gesticulate with my hands, but like I said, I'm in a different position doing this than I usually am. I'm usually kind of sitting up and engaged, and I'm not right now because I have kitten. Alright, so let's just go in and see what we see. The first thing they're showing me from the north is this rushing river. It almost looks like the river's on a hillside, except I'm not seeing a hillside, I'm just seeing water. It's not really high up. It's like it's not as high up as a mountain. It's just a large hill that the water's coming down, except I don't actually see a hill. I just see water in the middle of nowhere coming down. Alright. And as it flows into my space, it kind of weaves along and creates a river, and as the river goes through, there are flowers growing up on either side of it, and it goes behind me. Sorry, I've got to reorient myself. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. It's going behind me, and in this direction it was all very, idyllic nature. Green grass, pretty flowers, the river itself. As I turn over here, it's darker. I wouldn't say industrial per se. It's more, I see like old stone hedgerows, or they're not stones. I mean, they're actually like bricks, but they're like old bricks. They're not uniform. They're not, small and uniform. They're kind of bigger chunks. And it's low. Like, I've seen pictures of bridges where there are these stone bridges with just a really short kind of edge. And it's those kind of bricks. And it's leading into, again, I don't want to say industrial, because industrial implies to me a lot of glass and steel, and this is a lot of stone. But it's stone that looks like it's been, it's either very old and dirty and or got a bunch of soot on it from having been too close to a fire. The trees there's no leaves on the tree. They're very tall, and I can tell they used to be pine trees. But they're very black, as if everything's been burnt off of them, very stark. The air here feels very heavy. Yeah, it's almost oppressive. The air is almost tangible. I have this idea of what I think it's going to happen, but let's see what actually happens. The river has almost as I've turned around, the river was flowing this way, so I turned around to see where the river was going. And it's almost like the river has stopped here. The river is waiting for a tipping point. And when the tipping point happens, then it's going to do what I'm picturing in my head, which is just to suddenly flood everything. And it'll tear everything down, but it will also clean. Okay, so it's kind of... so what's the tipping point? There are many tipping points. They're showing me about 2 or 3 things politically. And I do watch other people, so I have every reason to believe that certain things are imminent. But, several of the current political upheavals in the U.S. And elsewhere, Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, other ones they're showing me that I'm not as familiar with the landscape to know. There's something going on almost everywhere, even though they're not in the news, like comes across, my view. It's like, I hope this camera wasn't shaking just then. The Calliope was scratching herself. Sorry, that took me out of it. Let me... The idea is that for all the things that are front and center in, the news cycles now, whether it be in the U.S. where I live or, like I said, Israel, Gaza, Russia, Ukraine, etc., there's something going on everywhere. And it's like the drops in the bucket that will eventually overflow. It's the link in the chain that will suddenly snap. And it'll be one big thing. It's like all those things will suddenly congeal, and then the water will burst through. And that'll be like a big thing, but they're showing me like the whole area. They're showing me that blackened area is flooded, but then once that's flooded, it's like little tributaries go off, and those represent... It's almost like new information, new ideas. It's like once everything's cleansed, it's almost like people will wake up from a dream And those little bits of what is now the very clear water going out from that space is inspiring new ideas, is inspiring new ways of being, new ways of doing, new ways of structuring our lives, our government. No, I'm sorry. I'm reading too much into that. They're drawing back on the word government, leadership, new ways of leadership. And there is apparently very much a difference, which, yeah, that's true. I know there's a difference. That's true. But the flood and it doesn't even feel like when the flood went over that whole area, it didn't even feel like destruction. Everything there was already dead and empty, and there was just nothing left there. So it was very much a cleansing thing rather than a destructive thing. They're saying that even those who were trying to preserve this dead thing, it'll almost be like a veil has been, the water will wash over, and it's almost like it'll wash their eyes, and they'll suddenly be like, blink, 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 whoa, what is that? It'll be a surprise. It'll be shocking to them. How could I not have seen this before? And they're saying this is going to be everybody. It doesn't matter where you are, on the political spectrum, on, whether you're the us versus them, or it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what categorization you have given yourself and or others. Everyone will have some sense of this, whoa. How could I have not seen this before? It was so obvious. Yeah, wow, okay. They're showing me little flowers popping up along those tributaries. I think that pretty much just to, more bring home the idea that, this is going to be new, this is going to be beautiful, this is going to be fresh and alive, and it'll be a complement, with an E, not an I, to nature. It'll be a complement to the earth. They're telling me to stop now. This is the first time I've done this, and for this, and they're saying to stop now, but I really don't want to. I want to keep going. What am I Calliope scratching again? I don't know what that's doing to the camera. All right, I will take that as my excuse to get out. Thank you, spirits. I don't know anyone in particular who showed this to me. I always had this idea that I would be that I would want to do a Daniel Scranton type thing, where a shout out to him too, where they, announce who they are and where they're from and that sort of thing at the beginning. But I didn't get that. It was just a general, they were just showing me things. I have no sense of who they were, or even if it's a they or a he/she/ whatever, right? Okay, thank you. I guess I'll throw this up because that's what I keep putting off, and I need to not put it off. And I will not be doing this. I can open my eyes now. Let me close the circle. Okay. Okay, I probably won't be doing anything anytime soon. I am about to go and spend some time with my oldest sister, who's about to be having surgery, and I'll be hanging out with her for a little while, helping with that. And I don't know when I'll be back home, but I knew I needed to get something out there before I would, because I keep putting it off, and it's not a good thing. So, anyway. Everybody have a good one. Bye.